Hey, hey, hey. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. I got to fix my screen a little bit. Welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. I have not been on this channel in forever. Thank you to my winner, Uthapa. Yes, if it wasn't for her, I would not even be doing a live. So I'm really happy doing a reading for her. However, if you wind up landing on this, know that you were meant to hear the message because that's how energy works. You're a mirror of what is supposed to come into your life. It's not a coincidence. We tend to think things are coincidences. People tend, especially karmics. Karmics will always pretend that there's coincidences. And you know what? Even when we have certain things happen to us, we may say, oh, it's a coincidence, but we kind of know that it's not a coincidence. You know, the spirit is everywhere. It's ubiquitous, including within inside of us. And when we're in this energy of unconditional love, what does this allow Google Chrome to find devices to locate networks? No. It's like, I don't understand what that's all about, huh? Interruptions, again, the people, situations trying to take you off your path, right? Again, the energies, can we say, is that supposed to happen? Well, again, if you look at life from a spiritual perspective, what you realize is that everything's in divine order. However, we tend to say, no, I'm connected to this person, or I was born into this family, or this keeps happening. Again, situations, experiences that put us in a place of limitation, make us really feel like, no, I've tried everything. It doesn't work. See, the problem is we try and change things that are outside of us. So when we're doing shadow healing, it's not that I'm not looking at everything. I am. I'm going to see whether your person cares about you, what they think, what they're going to do. But we go deeper. We look and see, what are the spiritual blocks? What are the shadows? How are they playing out as karmic themes? Why are you attracting this person into your life? And what can you do to shape shift the energy? There's many different realities that play out at one time. Why are you living that experience? So the readings are a little bit longer, but the reason why is to create awareness. How do you do shadow healing? Well, you have to have awareness of how you are contributing to what's happening in your life. But a lot of times we don't understand why we are contributing that way. So when we understand why we do certain things, again, a lot of times we just created habits and behaviorisms due to the environments that we lived in. We have to alchemize the energy. We know this. You just can't get rid of negative energy. So how do you alchemize energy? Well, you integrate the spiritual lesson, but then you still have that negative energy that's left over. And the negative energy is, well, I was connected to this person for 10 years and they were a narcissist. Or I lived in this experience that, oppressed me, made me angry. So that's just the way I am now. And Spirit says that's not the way that you are. That's a habit and a behaviorism that you have to do something with that energy. You can't just say, well, it's there. Your body is your mind's faithful servant. That energy is held within your body. It makes it very difficult for the energy to flow through you. The energy is known as chi. Well, it's also spirit. It's God. It's ubiquitous. It's a universe. And the universe is actually inside of you. So that's the energy. That you always have to be in or need to be in order to manifest, in order to be abundant. It's, hey, Uthapa. So it's very important to know. So I always like to look and see why the person does what they do on the first card that I play. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out, is the underlining energy that tells us why everyone does what they do. Very important when we are dealing with shadows, whether they're your shadows or someone else's shadows. That's going to drive me crazy, so I have to pick it up. My OCD. Okay. Little behaviorisms that come from trauma. We all got them. All right, let's see. Let's see what the underlining energy is. I like to first and foremost, we use my deck, the Psychic Soul Healer Oracle deck, and you see there's 68 cards in the deck, and they're titled under transpersonal psychology. So again, the words are different. They represent either shadows or gifts. Okay, one more shuffle and going all different ways, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to just pull right from the middle, and we're going to see, again, inferiority. Again, this is the energy. No, we are not taking that right now. Because we are in the middle of doing I put a new case on the phone, and it doesn't let me shut the phone off or turn it on. It's a real pain in the ass. However, sorry. Inferiority. Now, this might be your energy. Might not even be someone else's energy, but it's the underlying energy, which when I tap into you, I'm not going to lie, I kind of feel like you're like, oh, I felt like I was doing fine for a while, and now I'm not like really fine. It's like I'm still confused. I'm still not really feeling solid. You feel like you've done a lot and not really seeing as much results include. So you're seeing that within the relationship department. So it doesn't mean that there's really anything going on there. And, work wise, it's like, well, everything is lacking. And so when we do the same thing and we don't get a result, it obviously means that we need to do something different. But it doesn't mean that we throw out the baby with the bathwater. It doesn't mean that, all this was a waste of time. And that's kind of like the energy, like the inferiority. You're an empath. You're a highly sensitive person. You're an intuitive person. So too much thinking creates overstimulation. So there's a little bit of that, remember? And so you can't think. Only in the now do you get divine guidance. You have to get into that spirit part of self, which is that God part of self, which is the higher self. And that's the creative energy. And that only comes through playing, through being like a child. That's why it says be like childlike, because children don't have expectations. They don't say, well, it's supposed to look like this, and there's something wrong with me, and this and this. It's almost like that's the overstimulation. Now, if this isn't you, which I do feel like it's you, I'm not going to lie, but you could be connected to someone that's like this too. Hey, you're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. So it would be really triggering to be connected to someone that's like that, especially if you have these type of wounds. So it's just the universe's way of saying, oh, there's nothing happening, and it's nothing happening, and it's irritating you, and it's making you feel, understand, as Spirit says, that actually is what needs to be cleared, that energy, that emotional energy. And that tends to happen when we're an empath and we feel so much, we detach from that energy because it doesn't feel good. It becomes exhausting. It's like, I can't, it's like you get to the point where you're like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. That's why empaths have that type of energy. And so the key is Promethean fire. And the Promethean fire is that emotional energy. Is understanding you have that energy. It's just stagnant in one block. And I feel like on a psychological level, you already know, but there's still a sense of I'm still not seeing a difference and I'm not happy. Now, again, we're going to go into relationship after this but Spirit's saying, hey, we got to look at your blocks and make you understand why things are happening. Because how do you heal? You have to see a different perception of why and understand. Otherwise, no one changes. It's normal. So the Promethean fire is a combination of passion, but it's all those emotions. It's the fear, it's the anger, it's the hurt, it's the pain, and you have to channel it into purpose. So there's a sense of not really being grounded. Maybe again saying, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm still not, I can't support myself doing it. I'm not seeing that. I'm not. And so Spirit's saying it's again, because there's a lack of grounded issue. And that means to be in your body. And determination. And determination is within that second chakra when we can be consistent. It's like, oh, I started, but then I don't continue. And the reason why is because there's no emotional reward. is what Spirit's saying. It's like, if you're on the right track, you're seeing little emotional rewards. And that only happens through the deep connection to other people. You can be doing your craft all day long and not doing it for anybody. And then it's not going to manifest. Even if there's 3 people on, look, there's 3 people on right now on this channel. And doesn't matter whether there was 1,000 people or 3 people, you put it out there the best way that you know how. You show up for yourself, you give it 100%, you become the energy. Now, if you do that long enough, the universe will either say, it's close, but my plan's always better than yours. So I'm going to bring you, something that fits you a little bit better. But you have to be held in that place of faith. So again, you're like, or what comes to you is an opportunity to help you master your craft. So you're not seeing the universe support you. And so this is the same karmic theme of lack of connection to mother and father, lack of connection to the universe. And so Spirit's saying, but I am also your mother, your father. Mother Earth gives you everything you need. Father up in heaven works through you to bring you support because I'm inside of you. But there's a lack of this connection. So you're not really expressing yourself as me, which is passion, which means you got to really show up for yourself. You got to love it. You got to love it. You got to you got to be determined. And determination comes from seeing that reward. And you have to see it. We all have to see it. That's not wrong, but you're not seeing it. So it makes it very difficult to bring that into your life. So then when you look at and say, well, I tend to attract people, and we'll look at that, how the behaviorisms of some of the people, what do they do? And I'm going to tell you one thing for sure is not give you enough emotionally because you're not giving yourself enough emotionally. And Spirit says, so you would actually want this person to give you, but you have to give it to yourself. You always have to reparent yourself first before the universe will actually gift you what you're seeking. That's the irony. And then once you do it for yourself, you're usually like, I don't even want this person anymore. They're not good enough for me. And Spirit says, yeah, see? It's like you were coming from the wrong perception. So understand, karmic means learn, and you're getting that person for a reason. I always like to look at the behaviorisms first because it's like, well, we already know what they did. It's like we want to know why. We want to know what the issues. Again, this person takes a lot of risks. So again, that when a person has very bad root chakra imbalance, they tend to be impulsive. They tend to, again, not feel comfortable being grounded in their mind. They're bored. And so growing up in a very toxic environment where you were abandoned and where you witnessed infidelity, where there's betrayal, deep betrayal, there's a sense of not feeling safe. So that person never really feels comfortable in their body. And again, so that fight, flight, freeze, that survival mode, what happens is when you live that way for long periods of time, you become addicted to that energy. It's just what happens. Why? Because you're dumping extra cortisol, epinephrine, all these hormones into your blood system. So it triggers that dopamine sometimes. It triggers. So why do you think people steal? It's something like you still are rich people like Winona Ryder steal. Why would a person that's so wealthy steal? It's excitement. It's the thrill of it. It's like whether I get caught. So cheating, you're going to see infidelity. You're going to see like just risky behavior, which is self-sabotaging. Self-sabotaging, we know, means that person doesn't really believe that they're entitled to that love or able to have the love. And their actions and what they manifest is, see, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So someone like you coming into my life, giving me all this love and all this affection and all this niceness, I can't handle it. I don't understand it and I don't trust it. Not because of you. Hey, Wendy. So, we have to understand that it has nothing to do with us. It doesn't mean that it's not going to trigger you. Of course, it's going to trigger you. It's going to trigger you to be like, well, this is what I'm seeing in my world, which is making me feel. And God, that's where the universe, God says, well, no one should be able to make you feel anyway unless that's a truth. Like there's some truth to it. You shouldn't be able to see that it's a truth. Again, prejudice, which is that this person perceives things to only be right when it's their way. Anything that's different. So if you're someone that goes against their belief system, which is going to be rigid, because a person that has a root chakra imbalance that tends to be risky can't be with someone that's risky. They have to be with someone that presents a certain stability. And again, air that makes them look a certain way. And so understand, if you're someone that's a colorful person, someone that's interactive in your life, really likes your life, well, then you're going to be a little bit too big for this person that has a root chakra imbalance. Because again, as we said, we know that that's going to create inferiority in that person because the person already feels that way. We know that. And it's all about fear. There's only two energies, love and fear. So when you say, well, what is the person doing? Well, you're not going to see them do anything except for be in toxic energy because that's what feels good. So their way is to say, hey, I want you to lower your boundary. I want you to compromise yourself somehow. And we know that because manipulation. So you'll be like, why? Well, the person has a blocked heart chakra. They're inferior. They have issues of their own. So it doesn't mean that they don't love, but their way is that they don't really believe that they're entitled to it. So they don't really believe that it can work out. So are they ever really giving that deep? And emotionally, no. And that's the sign when the person comes into your life. It's like they're emotionally not capable. And so you relive that experience of what you grew up with and stay in this energy of sadness because it's like, well, I don't really believe that I can have. When meanwhile, the person doesn't believe that they can have. But is there a past life connection? Absolutely. Is there passion and whatever? Yes. But if we see the hand around the neck, that's dominance, So it's all about the physical connection. And then, the outside resources such as money. So being in a relationship like that, it's like you kind of feel like you become like the martyr because again, this person is still in their addictions. They're still in everything. It's just you have a strong spiritual connection to this person. And that's how this reading started off, to when you're holding on to a cognitive dissonance of, well, I want it, but I don't want it anymore. And it's that I'm wanting. Yes, I feel like my person is hiding. Well, I think that's that's a given when you're with somebody that like is so fearful and in control. They're not going to be 100% transparent. And because your own intuitiveness is telling you. However, the manipulation is that they're going to tell you that they're not. So that's where things get tricky because then it's like, well, now I have trust issues. And that's where the intimacy issue problem comes. And so this is how the person creates that self-fulfilling prophecy that they don't really believe that they can have that love 100%, not without being in full control, not without being dominant somehow. And that's what we see. This again, so it's a relationship that you wind up just having burdens and you being in your power and you being confident in you is going to trigger jealousy with inside of them. That's how it would play out if they weren't 100% healed because you're on two different vibrations. The key is that when a past life karmic mate comes into your life, there is passion. As we said, there's chemistry. There's the person feels like home, that you want to be with them. However, they're showing you a lot of things that really aren't good. So you already know. So you have to say, well, how do you deal with that energy? Because a lot of times we run right in saying, yeah, I see the red flags, but I don't care. You know what I mean? And then, but you're going to have karmic issues. So you never want to do that, is what spirit says. So it's about you staying in your power. If it's a real spiritual connection where there is all this passion, you hold a lot of power. The key is to know that you hold that power. We, again, sometimes through the manipulation that they try to do, like how I do that manipulation, like they, trying to like get around that. So you intuitively know. So it's not about knowing and focusing on that knowing and having it overstimulate you to the point that you get emotional, because that's kind of fucked up what they're doing. It's about knowing it and not saying anything, using that information and standing in your power, because you have the power. And that power, look at this, look at the cards that fell out. Again, never any mistakes. Look like it's like you're playing chess. It's like being strategic, thinking ahead. It's like that's why your intuition is telling you, because this person is a karmic. There's a karmic because the cards are flying all over the fucking place. So they're karmic, and so what it is like you already know what you're dealing with. It's like so you have to be strategic. It's a power play. It's like that's really what it is. And you're using the fact that they have passion towards you, because in that, it's like love makes us do things that we wouldn't do. Doesn't mean we want to do it. It's like, well, I like that person, so I'm going to give them a second chance. Normally, I fucking wouldn't, but I like that person. And when we like a person, any type of soulmate, that type of soulmate could be a soul sister, a soul brother. It doesn't matter. It's like, well, I'm going to give them. It's no rhyme, no reason, but it doesn't mean to be stupid. It means that there's many different realities that play out at one time. Are you going to live the reality that they want, or are you going to quantum jump into the reality that you want to experience? Well, there's a belief that you don't believe that you can have it, because that's why you attracted this person. And if you grew up in an environment that's what it told, it doesn't mean that you don't logically know. I know, but your body has been conditioned. So the energy that your body holds on to is what's attracting it. It doesn't mean that person, that you think that even anymore. That's why detachment, disassociation, your body holds on to the energy. That's why there are energy healers and practitioners that are able to like help assist you. That's why there is somatic healing, and you don't even need to know what happened. However, if you just ignore it, the energy is still there. So you have to say, well, if you're going to play power play and this person has a big ego, you have to also be in a place of balance, because it's not so much about, it's about you avoiding any negative karmic consequences. Be connected to a karmic, like there will be, if you don't play it properly. And a lot of times we do want to keep the person in our life, but it's to do it in your way. And that way would be, is again, get the knowledge, learn again, see what's hidden, the secrets. Okay, looking beneath the surface is what Spirit's saying. So again, the surface would be, I'm attracted to this person. We have a soul connection. Like this person feels like home. They are sweet to me. They are different. Spirit says, get more knowledge. And that means you can't run into the relationship 1,000 miles an hour. You have to have a lot of other things in place. Why? Because this is a past life karmic mate. There's a lot of passion. So you have to be strong. And like otherwise you would give in. And because this person's planning too, they're manipulating to say, well, I want the power on my side. And that's what you know. And you're like, because you're hiding information. And if you're hiding information, it means that I can't make the best decision for myself. And understand that it's like, you don't ask, you don't. So running into the relationship, you can't do that 1,000 miles an hour. It means that you have to be balanced. And it's not an all or nothing thing. Like, well, fuck that, I don't want to be with them either, because then you only screw yourself. let's be realistic. If the relationship really is that intense of a relationship, the spirit says it's again, it's the old habits die hard. It's understand like the family pattern. So understanding that this person may be stuck in the past, and that could be not just within what they inherited from their family of how things need to be, when they think it needs to be. It's also like whoever they've been attached to. And it's like, because then they're tired of being this way. But old habits die hard, family patterns back in time, and nostalgia. So if you've been connected to this person for a long time or have created experience, it's not like there isn't nostalgia. This person is also overly loyal to, I feel like, family that is imbalanced. That's what I get from that. It's again, they're tired, and it's time, and they're realizing that things aren't working in their life. We don't just get weary and tired, and understand if you're going to be connected to that person while they're still like coming on strong and lovey-dovey, but this is their underneath energy of being weary and tired and having old patterns, you're eventually going to pick up on that intuitively, because it's the way that you feel. It's not anything that's logic. It's like, I'm around this person I really like, but they make me tired. They're exhausted because you're connected to this person on a soul's level. And if you're close, you're sharing energy. So you know it. Again, regardless of the fact that this person's sealed off. So Spirit's saying, well, understand if they're sealed off, you need a backbone, and understand they tend to be unbreakable. And so you may be like, well, I'm that person too. They're very stubborn, is what Spirit's saying. And so it's almost like the abandonment. Whether you're going to stay, do you have the staying power? I don't really believe that you do. Again, self-fulfilling prophecy. Again, I'm all closed off. Not going to let you in, which means that you need to give more energy if this would work. And then that's why the relationship never works, because they're not transparent. And the fact that they're not transparent, then emotionally they're not allowing themselves to get close. And at any time they can, I meet somebody else, drop you, because again, they're not getting that deep emotionally. It's not that there's not passion there, but it only goes so deep. It's looks wise. When things get real, the problem is underneath that. It's again, that's why Spirit says you got to look deep what's underneath there. It's again that they look pretty on the outside, but they're wounded. And so they're stubborn, they're cold, they tend to again like act aloof, like they don't care. They do things deliberately to like trigger, and that's to get a reaction out of you, because that's again all about the strategic planning of breaking away a person's self-esteem, and understand what leads to that is trauma bond. And it's because this person's needs to heal their family patterns. They need to like fix the habits and the behaviorisms that come from that family dynamics, and which we saw was risky, which again, they have like that impulsive energy. So there could be someone that just is addicted to sex, addicted to something that's risky, toxic, that's gonna not bring them positive experiences. So again, being connected to you, which is unconditional love, makes this person look at themselves. So it's easier to get you to change than them to change. But that's not, again, the way that it's going to work. And the reason why is because the universe is involved in this, and you're not going to do that. And so as soon as you begin to really go out and socialize and network and meet new people, you're going to see things from a different perception. The moment that that person feels that, again, that switch, then it's like, then they get scared, because this person is literally psychically, they're not talking to you doing it. Everything's manipulation and strategy. They're not being transparent. They're not. Why is that? Well, because again, They want to have the upper hand. And what you know is, I don't really need them to have the upper hand. And Spirit says they don't need to. Just because they want the upper hand doesn't mean that you have to give it to them. The Spirit says it's about still being kind, but you have to establish boundaries and be affectionate at the same time. So this is, understand what I'm feeling is that this person mirrors energy that you were brought up in, right? The home. They feel like home. But the issue is that you need to establish boundaries. There is a sense of blissness when you're with this person, and this person feels it too. And the fact that, there's this belonging. That belonging, it shows us that it's a past life karmic mate. Now, in every karmic situation, like with the karmic mate, they always have an opportunity to step it up. Every time they can step it up to twin flame whenever they want. We live many lifetimes, we incarnate every time. If they haven't lived certain spiritual lessons and they haven't passed them, understand the universe is going to be conspiring in many different ways to help. We're going to look to see whether or not that's the case, or whether or not this person just is full of crap. But as far as right now, what Spirit's saying is there is a heart's desire. There is like a potential for longevity and security. That's why when you look at these karmic relationships, it's never yes or no. And because the answer is depending on what you do. It's, if there's many different realities, it's karmic. It means learn. Are you going to learn? Are you going to learn how to deal with this person? Or are you going to forfeit the game and say, you know what? I don't want to. And Spirit says, well, I made that really kind of difficult because there's a lot of chemistry there. There's a lot of passion there. So you can try, but I don't think it's going to work. So Spirit says, I purposely did that. Where there is home, there is this potential. There is. It's not like there isn't, but it means you need to do something, again, to get this person to do it. And it's something that you need to heal with inside of yourself. That's the kicker, why it's karmic. Once you change, you've changed the entire dynamic of the relationship. The Spirit says, first of all, it's because there's already unconditional love. See? Love, romance, soulmates, uncommon bond, devoted. Like, again, there just is. So both parties may be learning, again, that unconditional love, no matter what you try to do to control the situation, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be there. So that's your greatest standing power that you need to come to. And Spirit says, so you got to surrender that. It's not about being closed off. It's about being open, but maybe putting more energy into yourself, less into this person. It's not so much about talking, because sometimes when you say, hey, listen, I know that you're leaving half your story out. I know that you're lying. Well, the person's like, well, they're going to close off and they're not going to say anything at all. However, if you're still kind and nice, but have boundaries, well, that gives this person a chance to feel safe, to feel like you're not going to judge them, to feel this person's wounded. So again, yes, we saw the ego, we saw how they acted from the outside, but we're explaining why they're wounded. We're going to also see why you attracted this person into your life, but why allows you to handle the situation differently. And so Spirit's saying, well, you need to kind of take power, meaning know who you are. It's like you wrap this person may be, they so have such a connection, you feel a little intimidated or inadequate because it's like, oh, I really like this person. And Spirit says, well, that means you need to work on you. It's again where you need to be in that high vibrational energy. You cannot get rid of darkness, negative energy, with the same dark, negative energy. We have to, again, evolve into a higher state of consciousness, look through the energy of unconditional love. And Spirit says, that's possible. That's possible. And so it's what you see here is healing the second chakra, which is, I need things to look like the way that I want them to look in order for me to feel safe. And this person's like, well, I need things to look. And Spirit says, no, you both need to learn how to go with the flow of life, get balance. It's not your way or their way. It's called compromise. But understand, if you weren't brought up in that type of environment, trust issues are at hand. It's like, well, I grew up, family patterns. Yeah, listen, doesn't matter that was your mother, my brother. They'd steal a Tic Tac from you. They'd steal anything from you. Doesn't matter. If your heart was not inside your body, they'd steal that too. Some families, that's the way. It's like, because of the way that they grew up, due to what they've gone through. So too much of inherited ancestral karmic patterns. So growing up in certain environments, but Spirit says unconditional love is the energy of God. It's the energy that transcends time and space. It's inside of you. That person is showing you something, but it's, again, you still have the power. Again, you're down there to be the expression of me. I can make anything happen, Spirit says. This, again, is about, at this time, that it can go either way, but it could happen. And Spirit says, because again, there's many different realities. What are you going to do? Because it's up to you. That second chakra is that we're in flux, right? We can feel the flux of it, like going back and forth. And really, it's not an all or nothing situation. That's how you know, because you were holding on to a cognitive dissonance, which is like, want it, but it's like I don't. It's like I want it, but I don't want to get like all the hurt and everything else that comes along with it. And understand, Spirit says, oh, that person feels the same exact way. Understand his or hers just looks, opposite from what yours looks like. So again, there's always a runner and a chaser, but you have to take back your power. This is about being strategic. This is about, all's fair in love and war. Let's face it. When you're with a person, it's never smooth sailing. It's not, because you're dealing with people that have blocks. So you can say, well, screw that, I just meet somebody else. And screw that. You're going to be like that for the rest of the time, because you'll find something that you don't like in every single person that you meet, because none of us are perfect. It's just the way that it is. And so, again, what you see is this codependency, that, understand, this person tends to want freedom. Otherwise, they feel like a hostage. They feel confined. They wind up with jealous people normally, and that's because they don't normally give. They come on hot and heavy. We're all about the passion. Get the person to lower their boundaries, and then what happens is that then they trigger the wounded. Because remember, there's always a runner and a chaser, so there's always an anxious attachment style that was abandoned, and you always have an avoidant person, an anxious avoidant person. So the runner. So again, Spirit says, yeah, there's a balance issue. That second chakra is off. Remember that. So it's, again, that's what would happen. But this person's also codependent. That's the irony. Because again, they want you when they want you. That's the issue. You're like, yeah, it's like a one-sided fucking relationship. And it's like Spirit says, yeah, but you hold the power. You hold the power. Love is that. This person may try and find that within other people, and with low dark energy, which we saw that they had, that would be something that they would try to do to manipulate. But Spirit says it doesn't matter. Eventually, they'll have to come back with their tail between their legs, because there's only one you. There's only one, and the key is that this person knows it, and you know it too. But they're triggering you, and they're triggering to bring out those inner child wounds of the past. And so again, victim mentality, confused, tunnel vision, again, resisting clarity. This is what you deal with this person. Which is like, it's my way or the highway. It's like, this happened because my relationships in the past. I hold back because they'll make 1,000 excuses. Don't sit there and listen. It's like, this is about you, again, stepping into your power, because it's not about this person not having feelings for you. It's about this person, please don't give up on me. I'm going to come back for you. I can't stand the thought of being with. And you inspired me in so many ways, and that would happen. But what you know is you got unhealthy habits and behaviorisms that need to go. And it affects my mental health, not just yours. It's again, so it's not going to be water underneath the bridge. You want to do the silent treatment on me? Fine. So Spirit says, step into your power. Again, own that shit. It's like, own it. Own it. You have to kind of make this person nervous a little bit. It's again too much nurturing because that person came in handicapped in the beginning where you're like, well, I just wanted to like be nice. I want to treat that person the way I wanted to be treated. And Spirit says, yeah, look what I got you. It's again, they're like you regardless. There's a connection is there. It's again, but if you're teaching this person because, oh, you're going to be so nice and helpful and this person is manipulative. Their issue is they feel always like, I'm trapped in a relationship, but it's them. By you making them come to you're making them open up their heart. By you not judging the process and being strong in your power, where you're like, yeah, I see what you do. It's like you're commanding a certain way. You don't think that you have this power, which is what Spirit's saying. It's like, well, I have like issues where I'm not loved, feel not loved too. It's triggering me. And Spirit says, yes, that's why I brought this person into your life to show you that unconditional love is that. You can't destroy it. It's the energy of the universe. It's the energy inside of you. That's why this person feels like home. That's the energy inside of them. No matter what they do, they're going to get mad. Yeah, so what? Don't budge. They're going to, again, try and make you, again, manipulate you. Don't budge. It's again, eventually they'll surrender their ego. Spirit says they won't have a choice because you'll be leaving them behind. At the end of the day, this is all they want, darling. Is again, I want to be together. I want to hook up. I want to have a relationship. I might come in as a friend, because we're a soul family, and I may not know how to come in any other way because I was a real ass. And, you should make this person be on their toes. Don't make it easy, Spirit saying. Understand there is this mutual thing, but again, bringing you back to children. It's all about kids play, friendship. It's not one or the other, Spirit says. Look at you guys running into a relationship with these wounds. This person doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Go back to your childhood. Go back to learning how to be friends, the foundation. This person has to learn how to open up their heart, and you need healing too. It's like, otherwise, it's not going to happen. You may say, well, I don't really even feel like doing it together because this person has so much baggage. But understand, a lot of times in these past life karmic relationships, we have love for the fact that for this person. Doesn't matter that you see their baggage. Sometimes you only in the person's life for a day, a season, not a lifetime. But they come into your life and they do teach you about you. And they do teach you what unconditional love really is. And it's not because it's an easy relationship. It's actually because it's a hard one. But you don't care. And that's the whole thing. That it transcended the limitations of your mind and this person's mind. Because after a while, both parties surrender their ego, and they just focus on the love. Doesn't mean that they agree all the time. What it means is there's a lot of passion in the relationship to help get you through, that helps transmute those spiritual blockages, that you both come to a place of learning what compromise is, forgiveness, and all the higher levels of consciousness. But it doesn't mean it's an easy relationship. It's a hard relationship. That's why you're getting that type of passion. That's why they feel like home. That's why all the energy. You're going to volunteer for something that feels like shit and it treats you like shit. No, that's the whole mind fuckery. It's like the person like feels like home, but this is what I'm getting. And then Spirit says, well, again, was that what home felt like when you were growing up? A lot of times, yes. There was a person in your home that made you feel, and you didn't learn how to work with that energy. So Spirit says we can't go back in time. But if we were to go back in time to find out why the hell did I attract this person into my life, we'd have to look at the inner child wounds, right? Because where did it come from? Like what? Okay, I came from that particular home, but what does that mean? And the Spirit says, well, psychologically and emotionally, what that meant was sing, organized chaos, self-love, imagination, friendship, and guidance. Well, again, what that means is again being able to listen to your own intuition. You always had a strong connection to the higher self intuitively, and understand that you did grow up in an environment that it wasn't perfect, but whose was. Organized chaos just means, hey, there might have been like one parent that was always angry all the time and they made things chaotic, or a parent that always had anxiety. And so it gets chaotic, but your needs were met, but you inherited that type of energy, like just not really feeling safe. And so when they don't feel safe over time, children can't just leave. What do? They have two options. They run to their friends and they check out. They go into their imagination because there's no other option. So the friendship, I feel like at a young age, you had a friend like betray you. And why I see this, because this person does not look like a friend, like at all. They like friendship, so almost like you were looking for that love and you gave that love unconditionally because you weren't really getting it at home because it was chaotic. Like, again, you didn't want to really bother your mother or your father that was always angry or had anxiety, or one parent had anxiety and the other was angry. It's the same energy, by the way. It's just fear driven. And so Spirit says, so you made you not really feel that safe. So you relied too much on outside resources, and betrayal happened because people saw it over time as weak, or they felt like they were giving too much, again, because you're never going to get what you need to get from friends, from your family. They can do for you, but I'm saying consistently every single day that your parents are supposed to be your support growing up. That meant that you didn't really feel like you had it. So again, depending on a friend, and then being betrayed, and then not trusting. So where Spirit says, learning to give yourself self-love, needing to give yourself self-love. And as children, we don't know what that looks like. We think, let me go out and get friends. Let me go and be nicer to my mom. Let me be nicer to this person. Let me do that. So Spirit says, so you wound up over giving and overdoing for other people, which meant, what were you getting for yourself? Well, what you were taught was not to use your voice at all, not to be able to express yourself. And then that's a problem because you have to ask for what you need. You have to establish boundaries. So Spirit says, now I thought I pulled 6. Oh, we did. Okay. So I'm being told to pull more. Okay. Because I'm like, why? I feel like that's not enough. I'm like, it's like, yeah, so you were taught really not to think. So just again, that neglect. So if we felt neglected from our parents because we were taught not to really speak up, and if we had an angry parent, believe me, we're not asking for anything. We're not going to express ourselves. We don't want to make that person mad. Our anxiety, we don't want to worry that person more, but that neglect then we tend to really neglect our own needs. And our own needs, so Spirit says, it's about giving yourself self-love, knowing your worth. This person kind of triggered a lot of those insecurities of, I'm not lovable, where Spirit says you are lovable. That needs to be healed. That was a perception. You attracted this person into your life because of that. And then you say, well, great. So I'm like, we'll eventually be together, but then how do you create balance? Because you, just to go back with the person, they still have all these blockages. You're the person that's teaching them. They are also teaching you. So understand, going back into the connection doesn't mean there's not going to be problems. There's going to be problems again, because it's a relationship that's healing you at the same time as, you're building trust with the other person, depending on how you handle it. That's why it's karmic. So, in the beginning, everything's fantasy, but there is no such thing as that. There is no perfect. So Spirit says, what are you going to do to create balance? You guys understand, this person does not know what to do to create balance. So you have to create it in order for the relationship to work, or at the very least to avoid negative karmic consequences, which is really what we're focused on. Harmony within, integrate all facets. So again, Spirit saying, every time this person triggers you, again, look at it, write it down, journal. Is that that's telling you that you have fragmented pieces of yourself. And so again, that when that happens, you're going to see it show up as money issues, or again, life isn't moving. That's how your reading started, actually. That I'm not seeing enough happen, like within my life. I'm not seeing the money resources. I'm not seeing the experiences. I'm not seeing. And Spirit says, because there's fragmented pieces. And so you know this because of the person that's connected to you. And so it's about healing. And then to help transform again, like there's that fragmented pieces of you or parts of you that you've detached from, disassociated. So this person is actually helping you transform those. So we know it's a twin flame connection. Again, why? Because again, that fire, or at the very least, a very like a spiritual connection, like a past life connection, where you've been connected to this person for like a million years, So there's a lot of passion, and that's why it's a profound change, like big change. That doesn't mean you have to be with this person, but Spirit says this is the purpose for this connection. Understand, no matter what you do, this person has unconditional love for you. That like only you can actually make that person be like, what the fuck, I'm leaving. And that's if you acted crazy and you acted out, where Spirit says, don't do anything. Nothing. It's like you get better results with nothing, because the ego can't get in the way. They can't strategize. That should be your game plan. Do nothing. You want to play these games? I'm not going to play. You have to either come to me correct or don't come to me at all. The Spirit said you have to know your power. It's like, again, where like a little kid that's like, I want to I want that candy. I want whatever, sometimes you have to be like, no, it's not happening. And then 10 minutes later, you're a kid that was just screaming at you in the store because they wanted that candy bar. Well, 10 minutes later, they're thinking about something else, and all of a sudden they're nice again. And then it's up to you to be like, well, don't you owe me an apology? You might have to teach this person. Maybe like, oh, it's one of those. And Spirit says, yeah, because you never get what you want. So try again directing the relationship and becoming aware of what you really want, so that intention manifests. This is also part of your problem, is what Spirit's saying. Don't let the chaotic behavior distort what, keep you off your path. And it's about listen to what you want. Again, listen to the whispers of your own soul and align your actions to your values. So I always look at this as like, follow your passions, It's again, whatever you're trying to create for yourself as an individual. I'm not talking about if you have children. I'm not talking about just you alone without this person. Spirit says it's about getting stronger in yourself. It has nothing to do with this person because this person has unconditional love for you. Yes, all that behavior, you look fucked up, but it has nothing to do with you. It's just coming into you to awaken you to be like, you need to heal all these things. And once you create more of you, then you know what? That you raise your energy because you're like, I'm happy. So you can, act the way that you're acting. And I'm going to like not be around. I'm going to be over here giving myself energy. This person has feelings. It's almost like spirit saying you almost have to train them like a child because, again, manipulation is like a child. I'm going to get what I want. It's like I'm going to be a baby about it. And spirit says, no, it's about you just integrating these blockages. And you may have already healed them in your mind. But spirit says, I need to see the action. I need to see it. I need to see that you've embodied that action. That's why you're in physical form. So your mind and your emotions knowing it is not enough. I need to do that. And I've also brought this person into your life to help you transmute that negative energy through the fire of passion, as well as the fire within the fury, which all those traumas that come up and the anger and the hurt and the pain. Is again, I need you to channel that. I need you to channel it. Otherwise, again, there's transformation occurs through that, is what Spirit's saying. So yes, everything that you saw is like doesn't logically make sense, but Spirit says don't pay attention to that. It's like give nothing because love is there, and your silence will make this person. They're already intimidated, but when you're silent, it's like you stand in your strength. Follow your soul. Take care of yourself. Again, that's you're displaying. I don't care what you think or what you do. I love myself. I give to me. Eventually, if you don't treat me this way, I'm not going to keep you in my life. And it's again, it's silent, but it's doing what you need to do for you. You're forcing this person to do what they need to do for themselves because they wouldn't do it. You're the catalyst that makes that happen. It's again, and that's for being strong. And why? Because you need to see a different version of yourself, Spirit says. And that only happens through you doing something different, and you haven't done it. And that's why this person, because there really is deep caring and a connection and all that. It just doesn't make sense. And so Spirit says, and it's about being faithful, but not faithful to this person. I mean, you can be faithful to this person, but it's more about commit to your own mind, your heart, and your will. Be devoted to the needs of your own soul, because this person doesn't even know what they need to do for themselves. And trust in yourself, in God, and the universe. So understand on a deeper level, you're more connected spiritually. You are more strong spiritually. This person is not strong spiritually. So it's like, I don't want to be rude, but what are they bringing to the table? It's like, just out of curiosity, we see what you're bringing to the table, again, by you being strong, but it's like, this person did a lot of things, and, it's like there's got to be some benefit here, except for the fact that they did help you transform. But what does that actually fucking mean? It's like we have to ask, how am I seeing it in the physical realm? Again, ego struggle. Like, so Spirit's saying it's like part of it's the timeout. Okay, I'm going to read this in a second. Well, and Spirit cuts and dries it, okay? It's like, because there's the ego struggle often for you too. Again, that's fear. And again, to make it take the actual time out. And the time out where you're also worried about this connection. And Spirit says it's all about healing. All about healing. And that you're to heal this person and also to see your strength. I don't think that you think that you bring enough to the table in this when it comes to maybe financial, where the Spirit's saying you're bringing in like that healing energy because of who you are. You're making this person surrender their ego. There's an ego struggle, but you also have an ego struggle of saying, well, it needs to be like, look this way and they need to do this. And Spirit says, it's not going to look that way. Unconditional love means just that. And it's, yes, and the fact that this person's triggering you. So again, it was only for healing. Right. And that's the thing, is the ego struggle. And so that's why you do nothing. You let the silence like eat away, because, and it's, you focus more on you. Doesn't mean you're not nice. You're super nice and you're super loving and you're super, Spirit says, but you kind of act more like a friend to that person. And when you focus more on your energy, because if you're mean, the person's not gonna, they're gonna just react with their ego and you're not gonna get anywhere. And if you know, are too nice and too whatever, you're gonna get the same thing. Spirit says it's more, this person is showing you what you need to do for you, and also show you, hey, you are bringing something to the table. This is who you are. This is, energy. It is making you change. It is making you surrender. It's making you see a different perception, because that's what the hangman does. Okay? It's like where there was always a lot of confusion. There was always a lot of conflicted energy with you and relationships on some level. Like that could be, if I stood in my power, or I could be really attracted to the person, but the person like isn't nice, or I'm not attracted to them at all and they're super nice. Like there's always some weird energy. So in order to balance that energy, really Spirit's saying it's like, it's all about appreciation, and the appreciation for yourself, the appreciation for this person. And the only way that that could possibly happen is through friendship. Again, we see it again through communication. And I always look at the Fool as just that, like taking it where the Fool is just happy, is going, and they don't know where the relationship is going. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know. They just, there's no expectation. There is no ownership. There just is like this person's like just out there and seeing, letting themselves go. And like the relationship can't have the fear in it that it had, because this person fears judgment, and again they tend to not give enough, and then what happens is they trigger that anxiety of the person that was abandoned before into that, and that whole dynamic can tend to play out really toxically, when really Spirit's saying, no, this is more about you learning how to balance the relationship and really start over, build a strong foundation, because both of you did not have a strong foundation. And that is because of reasons that we said. So understand, this is how you build the relationship, through friendship. Again, you got to be able to tell your friends stuff that they're not going to like. That happens all the time. If you're a good friend, you're doing that. And if a friend can't take it, then they really shouldn't be in your life, because you don't want to have to agree with them. You have to still keep your identity. And that's the thing. And the only way that happens is by gaining trust, and trust through friendship, through, again, bringing in the Fool energy is really what Spirit says. So we leave it off with one more, which is shining light. Your desire to really improve yourself, transform your fears into strength. Rise above your thoughts and above doubt, and find faith in the goodness of the universe. Love and accept yourself as a soul, and discover the light that dwells within yourself, and you will attract the person that, again, has that same energy, that recognizes that energy. So Spirit says it's all about you cultivating that light, because you had spiritual blockages. That's why you attracted this person into your life. It is a karmic. You do have the option to be with this person or not. I'm not going to pull to see who's with it, not. It's a collective reading. It's your choice. It is a hard relationship because it's going to require you to be grounded, you to direct the relationship somewhat with your strengths. This person is bringing something to the table. Understand the relationship is just not going to look the way that you want it to look, but there's going to be a trend, like a ton of passion and happiness. So if you approach it like you're a friendship, and you know it'll heal those wounds and it'll bring the intimacy, like it'll heal that because you'll be building that through friendship, through trust, through playing. And if it's a real like connection, that you shouldn't mind to do that, and this person wouldn't mind to do that either, where in the beginning they would have had a problem doing this and you wouldn't have wanted to do it. You'd say, no, it needs to look this way. Where at this point, you're both like, I don't really know whether I want this or not anymore because you're really kind of fucked up. But I still really like you a lot and I don't really know what to do. And your ego is really out of hand, but I still like you. So, what do we do here? And Spirit says, you got to find your balance. It's like, it's not an all or nothing. And that's going to feel wrong on both accounts because this person's going to be like, well, when's the bedroom happening? And you're going to be like, I don't know whether I like this person, like, what are they going to back out? What are they trying? Like, see, like, it's just going to be uncomfortable. And Spirit says it's supposed to be, because you have to heal. It's not your way. Learn what unconditional love is. You were brought up in environments, or somewhere along the line you were taught that love was not unconditional, that love was transactionary, upon what you did, and that's not what love is. So, yes, I brought this person that's going to trigger your ass off, to bring you back to that your original energy of unconditional love. And that only happens when you both surrender. And that's not an easy thing to do. But Spirit says unconditional love is the energy of God and the universe always wins. So I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope that you enjoyed that. Oh, does anyone have any questions for me before I let you go? Yes, no, yes, no. Thank you, Uthapa, for playing the winner. Thank you, Wendy, for chiming in. Okay, if no one has any other questions, I am going to go. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.